Okay, so hi Catherine.
Hi, Renita.
Hi. So today we are going in module 4, unit 5, activity 3, and we are going to discuss about using technology to monitor students' behavior. And the first topic which we will talk about is Class Dojo and what are the disadvantages and the benefits of Class Dojo. And would you like to start first, Catherine?
Sure. I think I'm glad that we're talking about this since you teach elementary school, and I have experience with high school and will probably be going back into high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because as I mean, I understand that having a system like Class Dojo could be really beneficial. Um, I'm trying to think of benefits because honestly, there's a lot of disadvantages from my perspective. Um, but as far as benefits, I mean, I think it does clearly represent to students how they're doing, and parents can access it. And I think that those two things are really useful. I think it depends on how you use it. Um, when I watched like a few tutorials on it, and a lot of times teachers will project this the like behavior screen up in the front of their classroom. And
Right.
so students can see like every student has like green points or red points. And I kind of feel like that's in a way like shaming behavior. Like as far as the positives, that seems fine to me. But as far as putting those negative
Mm-hmm.
points up, I feel like that could have kind of a negative influence on students' confidence. Um, it's kind of like writing a student's name on the board when they do something bad, where it's like we want to be writing their names on the board if they're doing something positive
Mm-hmm.
instead. Um, and then the little monsters are really cute, but
I
but
think
I
so.
think they might be too young for high school students or even middle school students. But then some of the teachers I was listening to were saying that they thought it was too sophisticated of a tool for elementary school students. So I'm
Mm.
like, well, then if that's true, and I feel like, I don't know many high school students that would want the little monsters.
Right.
Um, so, and then the other thing that I thought about was just how you have to be constantly monitoring students' behavior, and you're going to have that iPad in your hand all the time,
Mm-hmm.
um, in order to like be fair about if you're giving points. And I wonder how that affects just the flow of the classroom.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think?
Well, I haven't used Class Dojo before, so this is the first time. Because of this module, I went and searched and researched about this app. So there are definitely some benefits that the benefits are it's very easy to set up. It's free. Everybody can use it. The parents can get involved, and I'm sure like will love to be in the loop. We
Hmm.
can also like give positive feedbacks, negative feedbacks, and we are talking about positive reinforcement in the last activity, so that is very important. And the cool features are it works everywhere, in every laptop, Windows, Mac, and so those are like the cool things which I found. And then students get immediate feedbacks. I really like the big ideas activity, which is the bottom of the page, which talks about the growth mindset. Uh,
Hmm.
but like it's cool. But then at the end of my research, and then when I saw as a teacher, would do I like this in the elementary classroom? The first thing is it's took time consuming. Time consuming means it's overwhelming. It
Hmm.
took time consuming, and then I'm like spending a lot of time looking there, managing the points, rewording. punishing, which I really don't want to do that because I really want to connect with the social emotional learning in the
Mhm.
classroom, giving one to one feedback or try to give some, you know, how I will say, like I really want to work hard inside the classroom than just giving points. So I think it's too much. And whether giving points is good for the kids or not, basically we are judging
Mhm.
and caring for the students. That's what I find. And sure, the good things are we can show the parents what are the exciting things we're doing in the classroom, and they can always like give feedback about the students. And also I found they can also, if you are not a native speaker, then they will translate the English language into different language. But then it's too much, so many things happening in one platform. I'm not sure whether it's good for elementary kids also. Um, and then as a parent, I really don't want, suppose I'm a parent, I really don't want that any negative feedbacks are public and people can see what are the negative feedbacks are, what are the positive feedbacks are for the student. And for the students, they're like will compete all the time. Okay, who got what points? Let me do it. I will beat them. So no, I don't think that works for at least in my class. There are many other ways to share the things happening in the class, but I'm really not sure whether I'm going to, like those are the disadvantages I found. As you said that you are not sure whether it will work in the middle school. I'm also not sure whether it will work in the elementary. The thing is that half of our time will go in collecting the points, rewarding, and this will not help in the social emotional learning inside the classroom, which we are focusing right now.
Yeah, I was for one of the other assignments, I was reading something. Oh, I think it was in the reading that we had this week where they were talking about with itness. And the example was like you're working with one student over here and you're kind of noticing that another student is starting to misbehave over here, and you need
Right.
to just like look at them and like kind of progress in that. And I'm thinking, how do you do that if you're also like scrambling for your iPad? you
True.
know like I wouldn't want to be doing that. Although I do have to say I think one person was talking about how you could make it private, so if you don't display the screen to your class, like kids and parents can log on and see
Uh-huh.
them at the end of class. But I think if you don't do it all of the time, if you're not spending all of your time doing it, then you're going to miss things, and then that's not going to be fair.
Right, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And also at the same time, suppose I'm going to be very worried like, should I give positive feedback or negative? If I give a negative feedback, I'm sure one of the parent or the student the next day will come and talk what happened, why we got this. Because this app don't have any platform where I can add description or modify description. This
Oh,
app only is like just give points and done.
that's
So,
a good.
you
I'm
know,
sorry. Yeah, no, I think that totally makes sense. And actually, that might be a good segue into the next one, because one of the other apps that I looked at does give you that option.
are you talking about Teacher's Kid?
Yeah, exactly. Did you look at that one too?
I think we looked at the same one. Yeah, so,
Okay, good.
but like, I don't know, like, how, definitely, like, if suppose as a teacher, Class Dojo looks very attractive, but I don't know whether I will use it for the giving feedbacks. And another cool thing I noticed that they have like classroom management, which is great. They have like their own music, which I can play. But I think like too much it will be too much in the classroom if I apply this one.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you have-
So, what did you think of Teacher's Kit? It's cool that we both looked at one of the same ones.
Um, see, I'm up for any app. Doesn't matter if it's free or not free, as long as it is benefit. I'm getting benefits, and also the students are getting some benefits. When I see Teachers Kit, it's a good way to organize data. We can organize data, you can track data, record them, and then you can play with the seating arrangements, and also you don't have that monster like avatars. So this is
Right.
cool for can use that everybody. I'm talking about upper elementary, middle school. But does that help me? Yes, it helps me for organizing the data. See, at the end of the day, technology is all about how you're gathering the information, putting it in a software, and then summarizing and reporting. Everything is same. So, uh, if it saves my time, I will go ahead and do that. But it depends, like how much time I want to spend on that technology. And I really like TeacherKit. It's nice. It has different options. I really love that. As I was speaking, that the behavior thing, even if you have that behavior like rewards, and then you give description. But as a teacher, I'm not going to use any of these apps to, you know, taking away points, which is not what I follow. Do you want
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Teacher Kit seemed really cool, especially the paid version seemed cool as far as tracking assignments and absences and that kind of thing. And from a you can look specifically at like if you're an elementary school teacher, I thought it was cool. If you have students all day, you can look at like you know who is absent during this portion of class, because a lot of times kids are out for like a dentist appointment or something, and I thought it could be really useful to look back and go, oh, this student missed these lessons in math,
to?
so that means I need to do some extra work to make sure that they catch up on those subjects. Like I thought that was neat because it wasn't like just absent or not, it was like when they were absent.
Mm-hmm.
And all of that data I thought would be really useful. Just something that automatically creates those charts. It had a more adult look to it as well. As far as the behavior part, I mean, I thought, again, it's like, I'm not going to be tracking this all day.
Mm-hmm.
But I did think because they let you, write comments,
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking like, it might be useful to reflect once a week
Right.
on something behavioral about each student.
Mm-hmm.
Like make sure that every week you're putting in one thing for each student that's not necessarily for the students to see, but so that you can track, their behavioral trends. It could help with parent teacher conferences. It would give you something specific, especially in high school. If you have like 5 classes of 25 students each, you've got like way over 100 students that are coming in and out of your life every day. And so it would help to, remember students, personalize information, that kind of thing. That's how I was thinking about it. I was like, well, once a week I should think about the behavior of
Right.
every student and maybe, record something like that. Or if there's an incident that happens, it would be a good place to record that. And then you could see, oh, hey, these incidents seem to be happening once a month, or this month was really hard for this student, but then it seemed to get better. I don't know.
Right. No, I agree. I agree with you. I think this is a cool idea which you just talked about, that recording one time. So at the end of the day, it looks like it depends on the teacher, right? Like how you're
Mm-hmm.
thinking, how you're going to manage that teacher care. And it's cool that then you can track like all the students, but not like every day. So it
Mm-hmm.
depends on us also, like how we are using this technology. But did you get a chance to see in Teacher's Kit whether everybody can see that or not, whether it's public or not?
I didn't see that. I think that you could make it private. It didn't look like, because they didn't talk, at least in the tutorials that I looked through, and I looked through a few of them, it didn't look like you had to invite parents. I'm not sure if you could. You probably can, but I don't know.
But do you think like if it's not public, like private, for the middle school or the high schools, any feedbacks you give, would you like to give like publicly? I'm like more concerned about that part, you
Yeah,
know?
no, and I do think with Class Dojo too, you can make it private,
Right.
but yeah, I think you can. With Teacher's Kit, I'm not sure. My assumption, I guess, was that it was automatically private.
Okay.
I think it would be really problematic to make it
Mm,
public. I wouldn't do that. I
mm.
think again, like it's shaming behavior.
True. I agree with you because I also don't know whether that one, Teacher's Kit, I know like Class Dojo, it's public. But Teacher's Kit, I'm not sure whether it's public or private. But anything, if I want to track any data, something doing, I can do that. But then I'm not going to involve the students for this behavior thing. You know,
Right.
that's even in elementary school, the fourth graders, they don't like it. Like we think
Right.
kids, they, I think it's better we talk one to one because communication is an important skill for the 21st century, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I was wondering, just to go back for just a second to Class Dojo, I'm um, watching a couple of my friends' kids for a few days coming up, and they go on a trip. They're 2 and 4.
Right.
And I wonder if, I don't think Class Dojo would necessarily work because I don't know if we would need it to be like an app, but I kind of want to take the idea of having like little monster avatars for them and giving like stars, like not to do negative ones, but to,
Right.
do something positive for
Uh-huh.
different behaviors that we talk about. And then they could get like a reward or something. I'm a little nervous about watching them for like 3 days straight.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like if we give something and then rewards is the best way to give.
Right.
Okay. So the next thing we have in line is what is the other digital tool we can discuss about? I looked at best sand timer. Should I go first?
Cool. Yeah, go ahead and go first. I saw that one briefly, but I looked at the Too Noisy instead. So it might be interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So it's very simple. The best I like the best sand timer. The first thing is it's motivating. We both, as a teacher and a student, we both are learning. It is nothing but a digital sand clock, which you can project on a projector. It's very cool. I love the way the sands are falling. It's like square. So it's showing a pattern, which is a mathematical representation, which is very cool, I found. And then you have a choice of playing music. And basically, it's just a countdown to finish a project. So it's very simple, straightforward and eye-catching at the same time soothing, and it's only one app, so easily downloadable on our phones or anywhere, and very simple and straightforward. That's what I found, and it will
Cool.
help students, to manage their time.
I'm wondering, so I actually have a sand timer, like a real one.
Hmm.
Do you think that something like that could be, I mean, like instead of like if you had the choice between a real one and the app, what would you choose?
I think the app, because the app has, the digital one is different. It falls like squares, and then they're making patterns, which is cool. Like it's a cool thing. I really like the old sand timer. It's not what we want, but
Okay.
yeah, it's cool for the kids. Something new, and it has a pattern, so we can forward our conversation towards math after that. You know,
Cool. That's
what do you
awesome.
think? What do you think about the other one?
Yeah, so I did that. I think it was called Too Noisy. And basically um, it's like a half circle, and there's like a green section that says, you're quiet, and then there's like an orange section that's like you're getting too noisy, and then there's like a red section like you're too noisy, and there's like this little needle that goes back and forth. At first I was really skeptical of it because I kind of think that noise in a classroom can be a cultural thing, and in different times you're going to want different amounts of noise. Like if you had a class that was really quiet, you might want them to make noise, and so or to talk and participate, like that might be a sign of like a healthy class. The noise go into like the red zone automatically like seems bad, and I don't think noise is necessarily bad. But it has a feature where you can set the sensitivity. So for different kinds of work, you can have different, levels. So you could say like, you could let the class be really noisy, but then if it gets past, a point. And I thought, well, that might work for assignments less for assignments where it's like everybody has to be quiet, because you know what quiet is. Like you can tell, I can tell, we can all tell what quiet is. Like we know that. And if a student or a few students are being noisy, it's pretty easy to be like, shh, But I like. Go ahead.
Do you think like how this is? I feel like it's cool. Like how you're going to do this? Are you going to project it on the whiteboard? And can they see like what they're doing?
Yeah, you project it on the whiteboard, and so you can see in real time, how you are. You can set the sensitivity. And I was thinking like for my classes, potentially at the high school level, one problem can be like the class is going really well, students are working in groups, people are, being on task, but sometimes the noise gets too loud and it disrupts other classes. And so it's important to be quiet. I think it's important for the teacher even, because like I've taught classes before where I got really into what was going on and I didn't notice that we were being too loud. So having something like that, instead of it being like you're doing a bad thing, it can be like all of us need to quiet down, and help monitor to make sure that we're not being disruptive to other classes. So I would use it for that.
Right. Sure. Look, I haven't checked this one, but it looks like it's a great app. At the end of the day, the students are learning. They're self-assessing themselves. So whatever app, like as a teacher, we need to think about like apps which is helpful for them also. And the one you looks like they can self-assess instead of a teacher saying, shh, don't talk. Right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They can kind of look and see. I could see it being useful for that. Yeah.
Okay. So the last thing we are talking about is, suppose like given we have to use a digital tool, which one would you recommend and why?
Well, I think I would seriously look at using the paid version of TeacherKit. And the reason I would want the paid version is because I think the analytics would be the most useful part for me. I could also create Excel sheets where, I was able to like make charts and stuff, but it's just, that takes more work, and it's all set up already. And I would use it primarily, I think, for grades and for absences. And then maybe to track behavior too, depending on how useful it seemed, or to just even make like notes about students that would help me with progress reports. So that I would use. And then I also think I would use the Too Noisy for some things, especially to help everyone, including me, like realize if we're being too loud.
Right. Cool. Yeah, so for me, I think like I will only integrate technology when I really need it. And as I said before, that whether it helps me or the students, I think like I agree with you that Teacher's Kit is definitely a good app if given a choice. If I have to use something, I will use TeacherKit to track students' attendance, the rosters, and use the Excel to and infographics to make a report, analyze those things.
Mm-hmm.
And for behavior, maybe not. Or if I very much agree with you. Like if I need to make something maybe once in a month or once in a week to explain something, because they have that box for explaining, or I can customize or personalize my feedbacks,
Right.
that one. And um, simple and good tools can be Noisometer, which is a good thing to apply in the elementary school, because most of the time keep quiet doesn't work unless and until we have to really, really talk about our norms and procedures every day with the kids. Or sometimes visual representation is good, right? Why they don't have to listen to the teacher all the time? So,
Mm-hmm.
so noisometer, and then the sand timer. Sand timer, I really find it cool, but any type of timer is great.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yeah,
check out that sand timer. That does sound like it could be like a fun way to have a timer.
yeah, I think so too. Okay.
Great.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered a lot. So I'm happy that I got to hear about one that you did and that was different than the one that I did, and also um,
But we're missing
the,
Cody.
yeah, no, but also that we both did the teacher kit one. I think that was useful for me too. So
And yeah, I think like that is cool. Okay, thank you so much, Catherine. So
yeah,
we'll
thanks,
class
Rita.
tomorrow, and I will broadcast this one. Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.